We have learned that the animals only needed about 3% of the space on the ark, while the food could have occupied only about 15% of the space. If Noah took water on board as well, the water would have probably occupied about 10% of the space on the ark. 3% animals, 15% for food, 10% for water. That equals 28% total used or occupied space. Since we are working with percentages, we have to subtract this amount from 100. So 100 minus 28 equals 72%. This is represented by the green portion of the pie chart. This means that more than 72% of the ark, and possibly even more, was open space. It clearly shows that there was more than enough space for Noah, his family, all the animals, and even the food and the water. There was also a lot of space for playing hide and seek and tag and maybe even a bit of rugby. They could do push-ups and sit-ups and pull-ups and sprints and long-distance running and all types of exercises on board. But why was there so much open space? Who was it for? Well, I believe that God reserved it for the unbelievers who did not heed God's warning, his 120-year-long warning. In this way, God made provision for many, many more people to board the ark than just Noah, his wife, their sons, and their wives. The open space would have been even more if Noah simply used some of the enormous amounts of rainwater rather than storing it inside the ark. Never make the mistake of thinking that the people of ancient times were any less intelligent than we are. In fact, in Genesis 4, it says that Adam and his descendants were grain and livestock farmers. They made musical instruments, they could forge metal and build cities. Shortly after the flood, the Egyptians learned how to write, how to cut granite, and how to build the pyramids with great precision, intricate design, and fine detail, all without computers. So let's summarize. Noah and his family were in the ark for exactly 1 year and 11 days. It is clear that the ark was more than big enough, not only to have the appointed land animals and flying creatures on board, but also to save a lot more people than only 8. Unfortunately, thousands of people refused to heed God's warning.